Yeah. That combined with the fact that his Aghanim Scepter just had so much scope creep over the course of like
Hmm.
3 patches. This Aghanim Scepter is ridiculous. People don't realize just how good it is against these Agi cores, things like Terrorblade, and they just some reason just pick Terrorblade into it. This is like
Yeah.
one of the best matchups in the game for Morphling. So to explain it to you, for those of you who don't know in Twitch chat, because a lot of people didn't know, I didn't know this for the longest time, but the Aghanim Scepter on Morphling, not only does it steal base stats, or does it steal your overall stats, 20 or 20, is it 20% or 25%? It's a good
I
amount.
think it's 25%, I
Yeah,
think.
25% stats. It steals 70 attack speed, but it also can be cast on illusions, which then targets the main hero. So if Terrorblade is sending any illusion down any lane, you can morph it and it will hit the hero every single time. It makes the matchup so miserable. Uh, you don't have to worry about finding the right one. So it's, and then of course you have the debuff on the hero. You can always find the correct Terrorblade at that point. So this matchup is sick for Morphling. I'm really surprised Ravens picked this.
Yeah, and I mean, even just stylistically, Morphling versus Terrorblade. Of course, you always talk about the Scotties. It's always a race
Yeah,
to whoever gets that item first. But then it becomes, well, Morphling can pick and choose his fights. He's got an escape naturally. He can choose not to commit, where Terrorblade is the exact opposite type of
yep,
carry. He has
full
to
committal.
commit. He has to get something. And whenever meta's gone, Terrorblade was a gamble pick before. Now you feel how bad he is without meta. It's where you have to concede pretty much everything. And conceding everything versus a team like SG, of course, they've got the Death Prophet ulti. They can push into Roche. They can get these very easy objectives. If your carry can't do anything about it, I think that's where this gamble, it's going to be tough. And it's where I think the Visage is really going to have to do a lot of the legwork in this lineup.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you on this. And it's not even like a great Visage lane either, right? Which is the other hard thing. But we'll see. Maybe they manage to find like some early damage into some quick soul assumption kills in this lane. It's not going to be that easy to do because Treant Protector is probably one of the more really frustrating supports to play against as a Visage because you're a 0 armor hero against a 90 base damage hero. And if he manages to get on top of you, you pretty much have no choice but to Grave Chill and run. So this is going to be not the best lane for the Visage. We're going to see the last phase of bans come out here. The Ember Spirit, the Lina. Both teams need mid laners. What are you feeling, man? Like, what are these teams looking for?
Well, the Lena ban's great. I love Lena getting taken out just because that hero is so dumb. I know that people were like thinking like, is that really a hero anymore? But then it turns out you just get 70% spell amp or whatever with the talent and the ags, and it's just kind of this monster spellcaster. I think that's where though for Ravens, they need an initiator. They need somebody who's going to be able to go in. Of course, once that Tiny becomes the hero that needs a blink dagger, you need something from your mid to actually make plays happen across the map. Because right now, Ravens have no real way to cross the river, and especially making jabs at that mid tower, it's just going to be Visage Birds. And the longer your pushes are, that's where sadly SG are just going to be able to heal up their towers. They're going to make those pushes so difficult. I would love a pick like the Leshrac, just something to get this game kind of blown wide open. For SG, they say you don't have stuns. Puck into Tiny, it's so funny. This used to be the immediate counter pick or the immediate avoid, but now nobody cares. Just send it, goes for it anyway. But I think now they kind of want lockdown. So Ravens are going to be pulled in two very different directions for their last pick here.
Really smart, man. That's true. Man, like, do you let this puck run free, or do you like just try and find a counter pick for it? I feel like you have to pick something with lockdown here. I don't know what it is, but if you don't bring it to the table, I really am scared for SG just to have a free game here on the Morphling and the puck.
Yeah, it's where that Void Spirit ban also hurts really
Yeah,
badly because you had wanted to pick him. You would have loved to get that AoE silence because it's one of the few ways to clip him. And they go for the age-old counter. That's a hero I wouldn't call just because it's really been shoved to the side. Nobody really plays DK all too much. It's one of those heroes that is never bad, but in certain metas just becomes too hard to play. But that's where, at least in this game, kind of a scant situation where I think the DK versus the puck, it's still DK versus puck. It's a blank stunner, and
yeah.
maybe they do find the middle ground because you can push on those towers. I think a little bit easier. It's just now you have to play DK into Tree and Protector. If you do ever commit too early, you get rooted. You don't have BKB. It could get pretty ugly for Nengafo pretty quickly here. But hey, they've got a blink stun. KXY can die in this game now.
Yeah, exactly. And I will say, like, the DK did get some love in the recent update, right? They gave him a little bit more armor and regen on his Dragon's Blood, so he's just that much more sustainable in lane. But they needed like some way to secure towers with like their mid laner as well. I think that was one of the things that they were definitely struggling with. And into a Treant Protector, like you have to be able to full commit for the tower. So Dragon Form should be pretty good at trying to do that. But I'm curious, man. I'm a little bit worried that SG Esports, I feel like all they need are a couple Lincoln Spheres, and then they're like off to the races this game. Yuma Morphling, super terrifying. This guy's very good at this hero, but I don't know if you had to stake your name on one of these teams, what is it going to be?
If I had to say, I just know this game goes too long. SG should just win, but that's where I think Ravens, if they can have that nice succinct gameplay, if they can stay building objective focused, they have a lot of burst damage. It's where I think Oscar could actually die pretty easily. It's where, unfortunately, the save from Widge and LTH, it's there, but I think it's almost not there enough where he can still die. I think it's really close, so I will give SG kind of the leg up here, but that's where if Ravens can find those burst kills, though, this game flips on a dime.
Yeah. All right. I'm excited. Should be a good one. We've had some solid games so far today. We'll see exactly what's going to happen here in game number 2 of Ravens versus SG Esports. For those of you who are just joining us, pretty good time. Pretty good timing. You could have been better if you were here a few hours ago to watch some more Dota, but it's all right. I'll let it slide. Smoke up from both teams. Heading down the mid lane. Going to get these wards out as fast as possible.
Yeah, nothing too abnormal happening. We'll see. It's such a fun way to open up every game, just seeing mid laners immediately get their D ward, but both mids go for the conservative spots, as they probably should. There have been so many wards killed in the first 30 seconds of a Dota game in the past 6 months. Everybody's just too aware. There are too many easy free spots now.
I feel like everyone just like is buying like multiple sentries and just walks mid lane and sentries both cliffs. Like every single time they're like, maybe we'll miss one, but you're not going to miss both. Like they're just not risking it.
Yeah, it's Dismar. Okay.
Yeah, he's scouting for the ward is what it is, right? But
yeah, he's looking for it, because if you can wedge yourself in this spot right here, then you know which side it's on at least, and that can be enough. But I feel like now they might just decide to chill. But that's also where, of course, Puck versus DK, the Puck cares much more about those runes than the DK will ever care, as XY is going to get bullied off of that just a bit.
All right, but with that, it will be a 3-for-1 for SG. I mean, they do have a much stronger level 1, so it's not that surprising. They can definitely apply a lot more pressure. I mean, the Treant Protector alone is terrifying in terms of fighting over the runes. So, we'll see if Visage can make this lane work. I am a little bit unsure. Like, I know Benjaz is a great player, but level 1, 280 at 5 MS. If Treant meant... Oh, he actually didn't go Orb of Venom, but he did go for the Windlace. So if he manages to get on top of you and hits you with that Nature's Grasp, you're going to take so much damage.
Yeah, and if there's one thing to say, at least every punch is a Soul Assumption charge, so you will be able to get that damage out pretty easily, but that's also where I think they are just going to have to kind of bide their time here, because if they do let Widge do his thing, it's just so much damage. That's also where Dismar, I wonder how he's going to play this lane. As soon as he leaves, all of the creeps are going to get denied. It's where Benjaz just can't do anything. He has so little base damage versus the Treant and the Morphling. It's only going to get worse as the lane goes. I think that's honestly where the Tiny needs to stick around for so long.
Dude, it's actually kind of funny. I hadn't considered the fact that, like, Treant Protector just punching someone gives him a Soul Assumption charge.
Yep.
He did come to the lane with 3 mangoes for this reason, so his plan is to just dish the damage back.
And that's where Widge actually does need to be careful, because, again, each punch gives a charge, and then that gets spent on Yuma. Until Yuma's level 3, that's regen that really he can't afford to do. And, of course, the lower the Morph is, the more he has to use both his mana, but the less base damage he has, because now he's losing that fight that really SG should be winning.
Yeah, absolutely. Witch now level 2, gonna do what he can here with the Leech Seed and Avalanche. Oh, the first blood actually comes out bottom, but we see the counter kill top lane. Okay. Visage working. Never mind. I was a big phony.
It's literally just because of the punches, but also I think Widge getting a little bit too confident up in the lane. Simply Dismar hits level 2, it's just Ava. Like, that's a pretty easy kill to give away there, but that's also where bottom, they were able to get a kill with just the tail end of that meta, so they get to flip both lanes in a pretty productive way. It's not what you want for SG. SG definitely need these early levels, but I feel like each feed is just going to make Raven's time that much easier.
All right, so I'm curious how you feel about this Ogre. I feel like this was like one of the weirdest changes of the patch where they just decide to give him 20 damage, but then obviously make him a lot less tanky. They're going to dive here on top of him. Oscar, Crypt Swarm in one. We'll be able to secure that kill there onto the Ogre Magi. Now, I was going to ask, do you think they intended to give him this much damage because they want him to be more, like, played more as a core? Or is this just, like, they just conceptually wanted to change this hero from being this massive beefcake that just stands in your way?
I think they wanted to give him something, but I think the larger part is they wanted to stop this idea of give all of your tangos to the carry, be the best at that role, because it is kind of dumb. You don't want to have a hero that's just literally going to buy tangos, not using them, and then just giving it to the carry. So I think it's a combination of the regen change and shareable regen, and then just wanting to give him more than nothing, because I'll be honest, a total hard nerf would have been pretty lame. That would have been a little disappointing. Yeah. So it's really just something for, I think, countering that playstyle specifically, because card does kind of need his own tangos. It also comes into the whole flag bearer change, right? Where you do kind of want to play up aggressively in the waves each time. I think that's really the big change for that hero.
Yeah, I agree. Dude, the flag bearer creep is such a cool change. I love that.
It gives you something to play for. It's also really sad. You know, they really took CS LoL to like a whole new level whenever you miss that creep.
Dude, it's so true. You miss the creep and like everyone just pings you.
Oh, and some pros
DK
like,
just denying creeps in their face.
Yes. The classic lane.
DK, yeah.
You have 10 more base damage. You have a clawing blade. KXY can't do anything about it. You're just gonna chill. Both sides do farm, though. Once Puck gets level 5, you can just kind of nuke out the wave and then start ignoring the DK, but that's where as soon as Nengaflow hits level 6, you just start harassing with Dragon Form, and then the Puck has to kind of make an impossible play. But
that creep fort, that is dirty, man. All right, ends up getting both of the creeps anyway there, but takes a lot of harassment damage in the process. And that's the thing, no harassment sticks on the DK, right? This is one of those... Oh, whoa, the double kill! Underestimating the soul assumption damage there.
Well, that's one way to give away the lane. Yeah, that's just level 2 soul assumption right there. Totally nice, easy spell, but also not morphing at all. I mean, I'm looking at the worst HP total, sitting at 520, and then that happens.
I think he got caught leveling is what happened. Because he hit level 4, and I think got caught in the process of leveling the ability rather than morphing. Because I know that happens sometimes.
Yeah, and it's tough because Benja's, even though he's been kind of biding his time, and of course the CS is very close because it's very difficult to fight for those last hits. Now, if you can just give the lane completely to the Visage, you rotate out. I mean, Dismar's trying to put pressure on the Puck now. He's getting his job done. But more importantly, you're giving the Visage his early level 6, and then Yuma's going to get kicked out of the lane. So Ravens are finding that really nice balance.
Yeah, that was a sick play. Now, Visage, this game, like you said, probably going to go for the Wraith Pact. Do you think afterwards, is it always the Aghanim Scepter, or do you go for something a little bit more like team fighty, like the drums into Boots of Bearing type of style?
I think Boots of Bearing is honestly really sick this game, even though it's a little bit tough. You're playing versus these two pretty big AoE disables. I think what would be really sick is if he just buys an Orchid. I know that's an item that a lot of people don't like to get because it's very selfish, but at the same time, it's pretty effective. But that's where mid lane. The supports are here, but the Puck is not. He's not here cutting these creep waves. He had to go back to base and get mana at pretty much the worst possible time.
Yeah,
now
catapult and DK.
Ravens get to do this. Yeah,
this is what we talked about. Hard committing for towers with the Dragon Knight. He actually found an illusion rune as well, so he had 3, DKs like beating on the tower, making sure that the buff was gonna stay on there as long as possible. But yeah, it's both supports rotating to the mid lane, just guaranteeing they take down that mid tower, and that's a huge play. That's a huge win for the side of Ravens.
Yeah, that's a pre-10-minute mid tower. It's going to make the game feel really awkward for SG as well now because, well, Not to mention that KXY is now going to have to look for those runes in even more difficult positions, but you don't get bottle refills from your supports anymore. You have to play so far up the lane. I mean, even KXY's build, he doesn't have boots. He's trying to rush the Witchblade so he has damage. I just feel like something feels very wrong right now for SG. And then they walk back to their lanes after taking such a big loss, and Benjaz is level 6. He's got the birds.
Oh, Yuma.
I don't know.
All right, he waveformed in to try and finish off the birds, but Gravekeeper's Cloak right now is still available, so very difficult to bring those down. And the way Gravekeeper's Cloak works on the bird is it's dependent on the current amount of charges on the Visage, right? They receive whatever buff Visage has. So if you haven't broken any of the stacks on Visage, then the birds receive all 4 stacks, right?
Yeah, so ideally what you want to do is you'd want to go on him with Widge, you hit the Visage for 4, and then get the Gravekeeper's Cloak off of those birds, but it's where, unfortunately, now this lane is just so ugly. And Yuma, of course, is going to be able to scam out HP as Morphling, you know, naturally can, but for Nengo Folk, he's up here, he's got an Arcane Rune, is another tier 1.
Oh no, he's got the Arcane! Oh man. Visage and the DK now beating on your tower. Good luck. I mean, level 2 living armor is not going to be enough to slow this down. Obviously, they have the fortification again since that mid tower went down, but it even gets the wave pull there. And they're just going to continue working on this tower. Man, I mean, we're talking about pre-10 minute mid tower, pre-10 minute 2 towers with a Treant Protector.
Yeah, and then you'd look, you'd say, okay, SG, where are you finding your play, your trade instead? And of course, it's coming in the bottom lane where Oscar's trying to get his own push. But with how fast this exchange is happening, I wouldn't be surprised if Ravens want to make that attempt, or if they just want to keep the pressure onto Yuma. Because right now, Oscar's got a free lane in the bottom lane. Yuma is getting subjugated everywhere. He does not have a jungle. He doesn't have a great way to farm. Even right now, he can't even get that catch up in the Ancients because he's so low level. It's just not too many great options right now. And okay, they will trade the exit for the bottom tower. They do get something in exchange, but then you look over at KXY with his Witchblade. It's time for the Puck to make a play as well. But who does he actually kill? Everybody is so tanky on Ravens. I feel like the only real target is smoking and finding the Terrorblade, but even then, they're going to have to dump everything on one target and then look for an escape. Otherwise, I feel like the game could just spiral out of control. They're going to attempt on a Nengo Flow here, and I think they should get him.
I mean, it's 4 heroes. If they don't, it's going to feel so bad, so yeah, they do. Kill goes the way of KXY. Witchblade wasn't even there for that, so they'll be happy with that for sure. They at least get something going their way, slowing down that mid DK. And a little bit of a weird position for him to be in. I think he just was a... Oh, we'll come back to that thought in a moment. There's going to be the coil out onto 2. Snaps on the Tiny. Ogre just going to try and stay inside, picked up there by KXY. So not only do they get the kill there onto the DK, they get the DD rune, and they get the second kill there onto Ogre. So a little bit of gold going in the way of this Puck here. Actually, quite a bit. He's very happy about that.
Yeah, no, he got the play that he's been waiting for, you know, almost 10 minutes pretty much. But yeah, it's a little bit odd. He's farming underneath the SG's ward as well. It's where I think Ravens, they know very much that they are ahead in this game right now, but they also need to take a step back. They can't really get this game started properly until Nengaflo gets his Blink Dagger. But I think that's where the DK should just go AFK farm, shouldn't make anything too crazy happen right now. That's also where I think SG's smoke got scouted out here, so Benjaz will very succinctly just kind of walk away from what could be a very easy kill onto him, but it's where I think he might just overshoot, but he's getting greedy.
They might get him.
Oh, there's the break, though, in the daytime.
I mean, you just no boots on Puck, no coil, no blink yet. It's really difficult to actually get there. And with that, Puck actually needs to be a little bit careful. Just going to farm up the rest of the stack, though. All right. Yeah, Benjaz. That Wraith Pack's going to come out here pretty soon. He is super farmed. And speaking of farm, we've got the Terrorblade here, who's pretty much been uncontested, right? 0-0-1, level 8 now, on his way to his Manta style. And then, of course, the Scotty following that. You were talking about how important the Scotty is for both of these cores eventually.
No, yeah, and it's almost time to play. Nengaflo as well, he was just pushing out the mid lane. He popped his DK form just to get something going, but with this Blink Dagger, now it's going to be Raven's turn to smoke. Now it's time for them to get the game started. It's where I think we can start getting those trades happening again, but that's also where Oscar, he's got Exo. He wants to make a play. This is where we're going to get that collide going forward, and I think right now, Nengaflo can still die pretty easily on the DK, even though he does find another illusion rune, but That's where SG making their march up onto this mid tower, that's going to become the new name of the game here. Respawn timers are still so low, it's going to be very hard to put too much pressure, but that's where can you find your target now? There's the blink. They want to get that reveal. I don't think they can start on Oscar, though. I think Siphon is too much of a good spell. I feel like that's where they might throw the game away.
Yeah, I don't know if they have the damage to burst down this Death Prophet. She is super tanky. She's got already that Ogre Axe in it. If obviously at any point they can drop that living armor on her to make sure she's, you know, safe. The blink's done. End up getting dropped onto the Tree Protector. And a nice avalanche onto 2, but Marcy will get away with that rebound. So they settle for 1, maybe looking for the tower now. Dragon form not available for about 9 more seconds, but you do have the meta popped here on the Terra Blade.
Yeah, there shouldn't really be any defense here. I would be super surprised if SG drag everyone down here. But that was also the safest kill that I think Nengoflo could have gone for. Because of course, that same breath, if he goes for the Marcy, then maybe that route goes. Maybe there's a turn because they don't know where the puck is. But that's where, at the very least, they get a tower and a kill for their blink reveal.
Once again, they're trying to make a rotation top, but Benjaz has his own ward there to scout it out, so he's just playing a little bit conservative, closer to his tower, has the Wraith Pack done. He's chilling, and they're going to be able to find the Marcy now, as she thought she was safe, but turns out she was not.
And just gets picked off, pings the ward immediately as well, knowing that, yeah, okay, there's only one way I could have died here, but that's where I think now Wraith Pack's completed on Benjaz. They're starting to feel a little bit more confident here, but the pressure for SG, it's still on Oscar. It's still whether or not we get the DP involved early or if we keep on kind of juggling our cores right now. Because as things stand for SG, only one core is really getting the good farm right now. Meanwhile, Ravens is occupying so much more of the map here. They're utilizing the top area. Of course, they're farming. They're not really stepping over each other's toes either. I think that's where you still have this Terrorblade who's just very simply waiting out for his meta timer, just farming the Ancients. He's under very little pressure. It's where I wonder if SG are getting enough done right now with the heroes that really can. And there's a little bit of an awkward smoke here to look for Benjaz yet again, but if they whiff on this, this is another pretty big waste of time.
Man, I mean, the smoke gets popped there by the DK, and they're still under the ward. Man, they have made this rotation top lane now 3 times to try and find this Visage, and has yet to be able to connect on it. They might get the birds. No, not at all.
Yeah, no, they don't get the burbs. They just get the easy reset. They slam their feet down, at least because they swap spots with the DP and the Morphling. Now the Morph is getting that good farm bottom, but then it starts delaying up Oscar's BKB, so it's this kind of weird in-between that SG are kind of forcing themselves to play in, as there is a smoke now on the Raven side of things. No Blink Dagger on the Tiny yet, so this is just going to be a singular initiation here as the ward gets placed, and okay.
They go in, the stun onto the Marcy. There's going to be the Exo like you talked about. They just burst down the Death Prophet. Big overgrowth, but it's too little too late. It's a double kill for Dismar here on this Tiny. And he'll grab the D ward as well. So, man, a rough start to this game for SG.
No, and that was a really good, very patient jump. Of course, Nengoflo, he wants to find the puck at the beginning of each engagement, but they get the flash of vision there. SG immediately pounce on trying to get that D-ward going, but they see where the Treant is, they see where the Marcy is. Yet again, they just go for the safe kill. And mid, oh, no way. He needs a toss. Okay, should be fine.
KXY.
That's a lot of damage.
Gets the coil out from 3. Okay. They're thinking about going back in, but with Oscar showing up here, probably not the best idea. You have the Blink Dragon Tail once again. Dismar has Avatos, but don't think they're going to find KXY.
Dismar, even though I feel like it hasn't been the flashiest Tiny game, it's really just been avalanches from afar. He is actually really close to Blink Dagger. He's only like maybe 600 gold away. He hasn't died at all in this game. He hasn't really bought too many in-between items either. He's just going for the rush, which feels great, but that's where Circle's being drawn on the map. I'm assuming that's where they think Yuma is right now, but here's one of the other aspects. They've got enough of a network lead that they now feel comfortable to just walk in a Roche, and sure, yeah, that'll be the next objective. Scan comes through as well, but without Exo, they pretty much know that this is just going to be a free Roche.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know what you can do about this. Like, you can't really contest them inside the Roche pit. Like, you just get Blink stunned from the Dragon Knight, and you're fighting in a meta without, like, real burst damage to bring him down, so. Right, Aegis ends up getting picked up on Visage, so Benjaz, I guess, maybe thinking of just playing in front of his team.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it could be that. It could be maybe Dad just feeling really confident in his farm and in his own survivability. But yeah, it's a little bit weird. But at the same time, this also does free up Benjaz if he wants to go for that more selfish item pickup of something like the Orchid. Then he can go for it now because he doesn't have to worry about getting picked off first at the beginning of these fights. But yeah, that's fairly interesting. I do wonder why they go for that. Because even the DK, you would say, you know, it sucks because DK does lose the DK form if you do die with Aegis, but even that is going to be your Vanguard up front in the push. So
Exactly, yeah.
it's a tough call for sure. But that's where more damage onto both these tier 2s. Yuma's getting some split push done, even though they're marching very quickly up onto the tier 2 on the other side of the map. But that's where, even though you're very close to that Scotty on the Terrorblade, you're going to have in really not too much more time here. Yuma is not battle ready. He does not have that really easy. Again, he hasn't had as much space to work with as Dad, so we'll have to see if Yuma's item timings come up in any way to contest versus this Terrorblade.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just seeing Benjaz here, again, on the Visage, just kind of soak in front on this tower. They're going to bring the illusions in, and with that, tier 2 is going to fall. They do have Widge hiding in the trees. He does have his shard now, so the Nature's guys will protect him. But man, they are just feeling so confident here on the side of Ravens. Nothing really to slow them down.
Yeah. And Benjaz does actually queue up the drums, you know. Just feels good with the summons, right? Make everybody a little bit faster. Especially because, again, Boots of Bearing, such a great item. One of the best additions, I want to say, in the past year of Dota. Just a very intriguing item as well. But
it is just such a good item. It is so fun. It just feels good in Dota because drums just felt like one of those items where it's like, it was either way too good and every team bought like drums every game and like sometimes even multiple, or it was just like kind of meh and no one bought it. But now it's very, very good on. I like it. Dragon Knight mid lane caught out of position. Overgrowth is there, but Benjaz coming in. He's got the birds to try and drop them in unison. He does. Able to keep DK life for the moment, but they still manage to burst him down. Avalanche comes on through. Marcy is dead. Yuma, he's out of mana. Trying to get himself out, but he's not going to be able to double kill there for that Terrorblade. Puck will be able to make it out alive, but now they turn their attentions towards the mid tier 2 tower. Yes, you get the DK, but it costs you so much more.
Yeah, and they go for that play because they know he's not the Aegis carrier, right? If you can't kill the Terrorblade and you can't kill the Visage, then you've got to find some way onto the DK before BKB becomes a thought in your mind. But at the same time, that's worst case scenario. And then the Puck gets killed top because the support rotation is too smart.
Oh,
that was so well called.
He's too good, man.
Just so bad.
4-0-5 on this Tiny. I mean, you talked about it earlier. You're like, oh yeah, the previous matchup, like Puck into Tiny, like no one would dare pick the Puck into the Tiny for this exact reason, like only when it was core. But now he's just so far behind that the support Tiny is just soloing him.
Yeah, it's not pretty, and it's the calls. They're just making very easy, very right decisions on the Raven side of things. And now the map, this is where you really start to feel that shrink. That's where you hope you got your core items before you got kind of barreled up here. And at the very least, Oscar's got his BKB. That's what we've been doing with pretty much all our time here on the Death Prophet. It's a little sad. It's not that Shard Aetherlines build that so many other regions like to go for because he has just been so strapped for that magic community. But if SG are not able to leverage what Oscar has for them right now, the game is looking all but done for, honestly. Because right now, Ravens, they're pushing down your tier 2s. They're going to start stalling out the game. Again, this is the downtime. They use meta. They could care less about making a play aggressively right now, as well as their Aegis coming out in a minute here. But that's where SG, they've got to land. They've got to find a play. Otherwise, the next few minutes do not look pretty. That's where you stall out. You just bind the map up and wait for that second Roche. And SG do not grow very much in that time. And Benjaz, he's the one to get caught here, but... And again,
he's got Aegis for
slippery.
35, and they have a tower to TP into. They will be able to cancel that TP on out. Again, Visage able to get the Wraith Pact down for the moment. The TP is coming through. Wraith Pact will get cleaned up pretty quickly. Question is, who's Dragon Knight going to go for? He gets the Blink Stun out there onto Oscar. The question is, do they have the damage followed up? He gets off the Gravekeeper's Cloak. He's going to survive this entire initiation here on the Visage. Avalanche toss onto the Puck. He's just on a sliver of HP. Can he get out the Blink? KXY will be able to do it, but Oscar not going to be as lucky. It's a trade 1-for-1. KXY Hiding in the trees. He's got an orb in one. We'll be able to use it to go north. Oh, doesn't get the drop there. No, blink in one. KXY should be safe for the moment. Okay. But now your tier 2 tower, not as lucky.
Yeah, and they are doing something smart on SG. Yuma's on the polar opposite side of the map. Nobody's really able to kill him right now either with how many heroes are forced to show. But you also have the Treant immediately going for the split. He's able to escape. This should mean that this push should die out pretty quickly. I can't imagine Ravens are going to want to stick around after the TB meta is there, but they do have a creep wave. And they also know that the glyph isn't there. It'll refresh after this tier 3 goes down, but this is free. And the damage is coming in so quickly, they're not even glyphing just yet. And then the back comes out. Okay, free melee rack, or free range racks.
And you just settle for it. Why not? Just take it and run.
But now, if you're SG, 70 seconds, that's your hard timer. You are going to get frozen now. Ravens is going to continuously push in the waves. They're not going to really show you all too much. And then you need to be ready to go with that next smoke here. There really isn't a play that SG can make right now, aside from maybe pushing out some lanes here with the Manta on Yuma, and then hoping that he gets his Aghanim Scepter, which I think is flying out on the courier, so something to look forward to. But until then, they just need to try and not get picked off.
Man, KXY, he almost going down in that last fight. I mean, it would have been an absolute disaster for the side of SG. I mean, he just hasn't had a good game already, and every death just is going to compound that. He's on his way to the Sange, give him a little bit of extra health and status resistance, which will definitely make him a lot more survivable, but I feel like it's only a matter of time before they itemize to be able to pick him off. Avalanche comes out here from Dismar, able to keep himself alive, but Marcy just popped, potentially gets out though. Nice rebound away. Dismar though, not done. Chasing down with the Blink Avalanche. This dude is just destroying on this Tiny Disc game.
I'll take that.
Yeah, and you saw it there for a second. Maybe a little bit of regret, you know? Could have maybe broken the Morse TP, but at the same time, you're a killer. Get the kill. That's the pickoff that SG desperately didn't want to kind of give over to their opponents here, because now, well, they kind of have to all hands on deck here, and that was a crazy more forward from Yuma, just trying to get maybe a toss back onto Benjaz, even though that sounds absolutely psycho. But that's where, yet again here, all Ravens have to do to really win this game going forward, they're finishing up the supplemental items, but as long as they control the top side of the map, SG have such a difficult time actually getting into that Roche pit. It's where I think the march into the pit, it's just going to be a meat grinder. It's where I don't know how Oscar really plays his hero going forward anymore. There's just so much physical damage. He's going for items like the Shivas. I think having that plate mail, again, is also very important, but this is the smoke. This is all they were waiting for. They've got EXO. This is their kind of free play. But again, who is their target? I think, honestly, at this point, finding the Tiny first would be your ideal, because Benjaz will just stone form.
They see the real Terrorblade. He's going to get the morph off, and with that one, he loses a decent chunk of his stats. The pullback. Dad gets the Sunder instantly, but a quick overgrowth there from Widge will help secure the kill. And they do commit everything for this. They want to make sure that he goes down. But yeah, that
was perfect.
That was about as good as it can get.
Yeah, and, you know, a part of you wonders, you know, what's he doing down there? But at the same time, I feel like Ravens, maybe again, being a little bit too comfortable. And of course, they are very aware that they know that they are in the lead. They've got the BKB on DK. Everybody's ready to go. But that's a death that really TB should not be able to give up here. And of course, the EXO will die. Like you said, they spent everything, but well, just a little bit of a loss there. Yeah.
As you see, I mean, like we've been having like random server lag all day. It's been wild.
So all
stutters
day,
and all sorts of stuff.
Past 3 weeks. So.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. When did the pass come out? Yeah, ever since then.
But hey, Roche. If the server's lagging, you know, Roche, he's still coming out at a pretty basic time, and we actually get a pretty middle of the path timer, which means that, of course, Ravens will be favored ever so slightly here. But again, that's where all they got to do is control this top area. It's where SG, again, they're on that timer, the hard timer of the EXO, 70 seconds, and then I feel like they need to make another smoke play happen. Until then, they are getting some decent farm, though. Even though it really only has been that TB pickup from the bot lane, I feel like now they've finished off a lot of those items that they were gunning for. And very interestingly as well, seeing stuff like the Ag Scepter getting picked up by the Treant Protector, seeing, you know, what that's really going to do for them. I don't know. I feel like Ags is an interesting choice. Kind of, you get the eyes, but then again, it's a very odd choice because Treant has so many luxury items you can go for. You can really build anything. So choosing the Ags is like, I wonder what he's gonna do with it. I don't know, really.
Yeah, things like Blink, Force Staff, all are always like super value on this side on this hero, but I mean maybe they're just like really looking for some sort of vision advantage. I mean, the
Yeah,
problem
it's
is though is
where
you have a gem on Dragon Knight, so
and maybe it's an interesting play versus the Visage where you can get the overgrowth onto the birds without standing directly near them, which I think could probably be a concern, but that's where Roche respawns. DB is right there to scout it out. Immediately
that's
A
nice.
clicks it. He's not even playing the game. He's just, you know, looking at something else right now.
Yeah, he literally had a click spam on the Roche respawn. I mean, he's got a pretty solid build so far. Obviously, the Satanic picked up, the Elven Tunic. Always really nice to have that a little bit of evasion against the Morphling. Going for the Daedalus. So just pure right-click damage. Wants to be able to try and burst down heroes on the side of the SG and grabs himself the shard. So Demon Zeal will now be available. So that extra attack speed and movement speed. It's scary, man. Demon Zeal is really strong.
Yeah, it's
Unless
one
he
of those
doesn't keep
shards
it.
that just like
Okay, he does.
you just kept on getting buffed, right? Like the CD got changed, then you got a little bit more attack speed, then you lost a little bit less HP. It's the same idea, I want to say, as like Restool. It's like Dagger Restool, but way better in every single way, and you just get to be out on the map that much longer. And with Satanic, of course, you don't really care about the HP that you lose. You're absolutely fine with sending it, but for Smoke Up, 3 heroes getting active here. I think Nengo Flow ended up popping on the puck in the bottom lane, so they're not going to have that spearhead. I think, unfortunately, it will mean that this isn't going to result in any of those free picks, but still getting out onto the map, still kind of doing their due diligence here. Because right now, Ravens want to break high ground. They want to force their opponents to use their big ultis to defend, and then they could choose where to go next. But until they get that reaction out of SG, I feel like Ravens are just going to keep that pressure on.
They got some big items too, right? AC just dropped on the Visage. They also find themselves a Mind Breaker, which has to be one of the most annoying items to play against. That being said, I guess they don't really have a good Mind Breaker build carry this game.
Yeah, I don't know. Mindbreaker is such a cool item. It's one of those stat-based items that just has everything you could possibly want, but I feel like that's where now... Well, let's see. I'm looking over at the SG side of things, just seeing what their next build-up is going to be. Yuma's gunning for a BKB right now, and that feels so bad, but you kind of have to, and that's just a straight-up pop. That wasn't even with the DK stun coming through. That was such a dead puck. That was pure Avatos into Fire Blast into a Breathe Fire. Well,
and this hero has 1,600 health. Yeah, it's not a lot. Bottom lane of Barracks just goes down with ease, and they're going to turn their attention on over to mid. Of course, one fortification will slow them down. Wedge has the Aghanim Scepter completed, but not really anywhere to use it. Oh, the overgrowth.
Oh, no. I mean, that was a crazy blink from Dismar in the first place, but now, I mean, they're going to walk away. They got away with murder. 10 seconds on puck as well. There's no reason for Ravens to really do this unless they want to. And now, okay.
Terrorblade, he still has Satanic. You can use it at any moment. Manta there, gonna give him some help. Looking for that Sunder target. He's just gonna use it on his tiny, and Yuma uses the moment to go in and finish him off, but he's just getting beat down by this Terrorblade. Will be silenced up, feared up as well by Oscar. They do manage to pop the Terrorblade. No meta, and no BKB, no Sunder. He needs help and fast. He's gonna pop that Demon Seal, try to run away, maybe finish off Oscar. They do manage to get him. They take down the Marcy as well. Yuma low on mana, trying to hobble away. No chance in hell. Widge, the next target in the sights of Ravens. He's gonna pop that living armor, but this is gonna be mega creeps and almost certainly the game, as Ravens have just destroyed SG Esports 2 games in a row here.
Oh my goodness. It didn't even look close. I mean, everything just went right for Ravens. And of course, they had last pick. They have the better picking position. But even then, I feel like SG just were not able to capitalize on the things they had going for them in this draft. Just felt like they got worked everywhere. And I don't know if that comes from that slight advantage in the lanes, just then being force exerted everywhere else. But I feel like what literally happened is bottom lane, one, draw, doesn't matter. TB versus Death Prophet, who cares? Top lane, super one. Dismar can leave Benjez completely alone, doesn't have to worry about Visage dying. Then everybody comes mid, and then they ruin KXY's game. And then the puck is playing catch up for the next few really minutes here for almost 10, 15 minutes, and you don't have a playmaker then because you have a Death
Yeah.
Prophet off lane and you've got to carry in your morph. So it just feels like then SG get no plays. I mean, easy way to win Dota, right? Just win all 3 lanes. Not that hard.
And the thing is, too, is it doesn't even feel like they had like a massive net worth advantage, right? Like they were never like super far ahead in terms of gold, but this was a game where like SG kind of needed to win the lanes, right? Like they needed to come and slow Ravens down from hitting this mid game timing. And it just definitely didn't happen. So really good, really, really good play here from Ravens. Good, like you said, good call outs, good game plan overall. I liked it, man. Good stuff. But that's going to finish up series number 2 of the day. But before we throw to a quick break, I want to let you all know we actually have something pretty cool happening, and there is a giveaway at the moment happening with kind of a combination of HyperX and BTS. Here, you guys can head on over to bts.gg/Pro Series giveaway for a chance to win one of the brand new Armada 25 HD gaming monitors. It is coming out real soon. It is sick. You should probably check it out, or you can win some BTS merch. Maybe not equally as cool, but pretty cool. But yeah, so make sure to check that one out. You guys can find links for that in the chat as well as a banner down below. But yeah, shout out to HyperX, man. They've actually been putting out some really good products these last few years. The headsets, the monitors, the keyboards, they've got it all. So
I mean, I still have mine. I still have my 300 hours. I've only spent like 30 of those or something.
yeah,
You
dude.
know?
I use the headset all the time. It's great. But we got one more series today, y'all, and we've had a lot of South American teams on the docket. It's time to bring the North American boys out of the rest. It's Team Dogchamp taking on the Cut. So we're gonna go to a short break, everyone, and we'll be back with our third and final series of the day. Again, this is the BTS Pro Series Season 12. We'll see you in a bit.